Hi everyone, it's DC here, and today I'm going to be telling you about the changes coming in the Cisco Learning Program in 2020.
Raise the alarm!
So in 2020, the Cisco Learning Program is completely changing across the entire board of different certifications that you can get. It's now been organized into a difficulty level program. So it starts with entry level, then associate, then the next one is professional, then advanced, then architect. With the entry level, there is only one examination or certification in there now, which is CCT. The CCT, or Cisco Certified Technician, is the first or entry level certification in the whole new system. Basically, it's you have the skills once you have completed the certification to diagnose, repair, make some basic changes to the Cisco networking environment. You can do the CCT at places like Pearson VUE or directly through the Cisco website. You can do the entire certification online. You don't even need to attend a class. The coursework is separate to the certification, but I do recommend doing both if networking or IT is sort of new to you and you don't quite understand the difference between like VLANs and subnets and IPs, etc. So just, keep that in mind when you're, sort of looking at doing these sort of certifications. With the CCT, there is also two versions of it, which is the CCT Data Center and the CCT Routing and Switching. So the CCT is now sort of like what the CCNA used to be, except that it covers sort of everything, but it is still split up into those two. So the routing and switching is definitely going to be the one that most people end up doing. But yeah. Next up are the associate level certifications, which are the DevNet Associate and the CCNA Associate. The new program for the CCNA has been designed to prepare you for today's associate level job. It now includes security, automation, programmability, and security. Because now that there is only one certification that covers all of them, do definitely expect it to be much harder than the previous CCNA routing and switching, which is, I guess, why they've brought in the CCT and covered a few more areas in the previous CCT. So the CCNA, basically, it gives you the fundamental knowledge you need to work as a network engineer. There's only one course and one exam that you need to sit to get this, and the certification itself is only $300 US. The course itself differs on where you are and how long it goes for, but yeah, most of the time it's a couple of $1,000s to do the course, which includes all the books and everything. And then the certification is just $300 to sit the exam. I wrote down some stuff here from the website, which is that it covers a breadth of topics, which includes network fundamentals, network access, IP connectivity, IP services, security fundamentals, automation, and programmability. So pretty much what I just listed out as the different technologies that this new certification covers. But yet this is massive news for Cisco, guys. One certificate to rule them all.
One ring to bring them all, and in the darkness.
It's probably the biggest change that Cisco has seen as far as their coursework goes for a very, very long time, at least 10 to 15 years, I'd say. Biggest change that they've seen, yeah. So the other course is the DevNet Associate. The DevNet Associate is the first of its kind. There's never been one of these before either, which is, again, a massive thing for Cisco to bring in a new certification. Basically, the DevNet Associate validates your skills as a DevOps engineer, and it also covers things like some automation. So if you want to get into being like an automation specialist, the DevOps Associate certification is probably the best way to start off. Read the sales blurb from the website, which is, the program certifies key emerging technical skills for a new kind of IT professional. empowering organizations to embrace the potential of applications, automation, and infrastructure for the network, IoT, DevOps, and cloud. So basically what that means is if you want to be sort of halfway between developer and halfway between sysadmin, and somewhere in the middle you're sort of doing networking as well, DevOps Associate is the way to go for you. There is, again, only one certification and one course for this. You can do it through the Cisco website or through training centers all through the world. Things that are covered in this course are going to be things like APIs, so understanding APIs and how they work and how to write JSON scripts to, transfer that data around. There's going to be a fair bit of application development and some security stuff on the side of that, because it did mention before that it covers some security in there as well as building infrastructure and automating it in the Cisco world. So that'll be related to like Nexus switching and things like that. Next up on the list, we're moving into the professional bracket. And this is where things really start getting interesting. The options here are the DevNet Professional. So moving on from Associate, you can then go into being a DevNet Professional, which is kind of cool. I like the idea of that. There's also then the CCNP range, which is Enterprise, Collaboration, Data Center, Security, and the CCNP Service Provider. So let's jump in quickly to each one of these and just sort of overview what exactly they are. The DevNet Professional, we'll start with that one because it's probably the most interesting on here apart from the CCNP Security, for me anyway. So it's very similar to the Associate, but obviously at a more advanced level where you're expected to be at a professional grade, not just associate level. Again, this is a first of its kind for Cisco. It's never been done. It's a brand new course. It's for people who want to be at a professional level of DevOps engineering or automation or DevOps security type work. It also focuses a lot on IoT. So there's going to be a lot of stuff in there for IoT devices. There'll probably be some really cool integration stuff in there with WebEx through its APIs as well. So that'd be kind of cool to jump into. But again, it's a one course, one cert set. And yeah, you just go through and do that on the website or through Pearson VUE, Red Education, whatever you choose. Next up is the CCNP Enterprise. This is sort of where if you want to get from doing, you do your CCNA first, obviously, and that'll cover everything. Then if you want to go into enterprise environments and look after their network systems, so you're going to be doing a lot of like everyday sort of backup management tasks of the switches, routers, network equipment in general. And it's also really useful for scaling up or down networks. So that's sort of where it's targeted to, is those enterprise environments with multiple layers of networking across multiple different sites. Next up is the CCNP Collaboration. This one's all about automation and programmability, which is kind of interesting because it's also covered in the DevNet Professional certification. So I'm not too sure what the differences are there. It doesn't say on the website and I couldn't find any other information, but I assume the DevNet side is more about building and testing some development type features, whereas the CCNP Collaboration is someone who collaborates with the developers and then actually builds the system and makes sure it works. Next one is the CCNP Data Center. This one also includes automation and programmability, but focused more on data center environments. So if you've ever been to a data center, their networks are separated and they're quite secure between each different service. There are links between the networks though, which you may or may not be aware of, and they keep a very close eye on that, being that is essentially what they're selling, is the security and reliability of their data center. I've not worked in a data center before, so I'm not entirely sure what else would be in there apart and what would be different from an enterprise environment or the enterprise certification, but I'd say they're very, very similar, just with some slight differences, focusing more on data centers and the other one focusing more on scaling. The next one, and probably the most interesting for me, is the CCNP Security. So this one is obviously all about security. So you're going to be learning about more advanced features than you would in a CCNA. Even though it does cover security now, it won't go into quite as much depth as the CCNP will, which would include things like 802.1x, probably some Radius stuff in there or advanced Radius, the Cisco version of Radius as well, and yeah, a whole bunch of really cool port security stuff is probably going to be in there, as well as network hardening techniques. If you wanted to get into cybersecurity like at a more advanced level, then a CCNA followed by a CCNP security would probably be the way to go as far as Cisco certifications are concerned. Next one on this list is the CCNP service provider. This would also be really useful for if you want to work at a ISP, so an internet service provider, obviously, where they're going to be looking at scaling on a service provider level, which is again different to enterprise level and everything else. The infrastructure of an ISP is completely different to anything else in networking, and it is its own sort of special thing, so I can understand why they have this separate certification from the other ones. But if that's what you wanted to get into, then yeah, I guess doing a CCNA and then moving across to the CCNP service provider will perfectly position you to work at an internet service provider like AT&T or Telstra in Australia, or Singtel across most of Southeast Asia. Now, with every exam in the professional level region, you do earn a individual specialist certification. So as I said, you get a certification for each specialization that you choose, which is great because it means you're going to be recognized as a specialist professional in that exact area. So yeah, that's the basic part one of what's changing in the new Cisco Learning for 2020. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, or have a chat with me on my Discord server. I'm always happy to have a chat with you guys there and help you out wherever I can. Speaking of helping you out, I did post just a couple of hours ago my resume in a PDF. I've edited some bits out, obviously for privacy, but yeah, if you want to sort of see what my resume looks like to compare to your own, or maybe to design yours off my design, feel free to jump on there and have a look and grab it and do whatever you like with it. So yeah, thank you guys again, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Catch you later.